Hello, everybody. This is Sensei Starman, and welcome to the first chapter of Let's Play Less Manly in Search for the King. Now, this is a game I'd heard of back in my misspent youth, but I never actually got around to playing it recently until Good Old Games got permission to revive it. And quite honestly, I miss nothing. This game is notable for a couple of historic reasons, but it's kind of an example of how bad adventure games could be in a certain respect. A little bit of background, this game was designed by Stephen Cartwright, a rather legendary game designer who got his start back in the Atari 2600 days, making games for Activision. He later went on to Accolade, which made this game, and then Electronic Arts. He's mostly famous nowadays for having done sports simulations, a lot of NBA golf titles, did the Jack Nicholson run while at Accolade. And, he's an important historic figure. This is one of his few efforts at trying to get into the adventure game business. The story goes that he had seen the success that Sierra Online had had with adventure games and wanted to do something similar. Well, Activision wasn't buying. When he moved to Accolade, they decided to give him a chance to try and do it, and he partnered with Michael Berlin, one of the original programmers at Infocom, and they tried to create what they hoped would be the ultimate text parser system, where you have to type in the commands for the character. It's debatable how successful they were, but it says a lot that they were doing this as Sierra and LucasArts were starting to move to point-and-click adventure games rather than having to guess the exact phrase that the programmers wanted you to use. And I'm going to demonstrate why that's a bit of a drawback in a moment. The game did well enough to merit a sequel, Lost in LA, which I will also be getting around to playing eventually, but as you might guess from the title on this, the whole plot is involved around how in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a huge conspiracy theory about how Elvis Presley was really alive and living in secret somewhere. And it became a big thing in the tabloids. People were looking for proof that Elvis was still alive. It's mostly remembered today, weirdly enough, because of running gags in books like Good Omens or the movie Boba Hotep, which was based around this idea of Elvis having faked his death and gone on someplace else. But anyway, the whole plot of this game, such as it is that you play a rather unfortunate fellow named Les Manley who goes off in search of Elvis to try and win a contest that the TV station he works for is organizing. And that's about as much plot synopsis as you get going into this, because there is not much in the way of conversation, not much in the way of setup. In fact, I'm going to have to do a bit of jiggery-pokery just to be able to watch the opening movie, because you launch right into it when the game starts, and there's no way to rewatch it, there's no way to stop it. And fair warning, I'm also going to be turning the music off for most of this game, because there's no sound control. Like with Superhero League of Hoboken, there's no volume control. You just turn the sound off or turn the sound on, that's it. And the music, while not bad, is kind of loud, and it's going to be hard for me to talk over it. I feel like I'm having to shout over the game as is. But with no further ado, let's go ahead and start Les Manley in Search for the King. And I'm pausing here so I can try and get the NVIDIA thing off. That keeps coming up whenever I start DOSBox, and I can't seem to get rid of it. Note they do give you the option of skipping the introduction. And I pause this just by hitting the space button. Somebody better think of a way to increase this network's ratings. You'll all be out on the streets. Don't worry, JB, we got it. Yeah, it's the greatest promo in the history of broadcasting. We'll sponsor a national contest. 1 million anybody who can find the king. Look at all that publicity, but we'll never have to pay. Alright, but this better be good. Roll the spots. What's wrong with the tape? Is this somebody's idea of a joke? Just a minor technical problem, JB. Stella, get Lunkhead up here to fix this now. Bring. Hey, Les, can you come up to the boardroom for a sec? The students can't figure out how to work the VCR. WIL presents... I'll bet I could find the king if I really tried. You can barely find your way to work. Now quit everything out here. Gee, this could be my big chance. I'll go find him on my lunch break. Those held responsible. And a quick note here, if the name of Acolyte Incorporated sounds familiar, there's probably a reason for that. They were, as I mentioned, mostly famous for sports sims. This was one of their few attempts at adventure games, but this game is notable historically for being one of the first, actually the first game to feature digitized actors being recorded in front of a green screen and then digitized into the game. It is somewhat unfortunate that the digitization was used on the secretary so they could have realistic motion for her bending over things. And she was not being played by an actress, but a employee at the company. The more you know. But yeah, Acolyte is mostly famous now for having been responsible for the Busby the Bobcat series, which was an okay Sonic the Hedgehog ripoff, until they tried making a 3D version that's remembered as one of the worst games ever made, and rightly so. This one, well, the music and the look kind of give away the source. As I said, the main inspiration was Sierra Online's success with adventure games. The honest inspiration here is clearly Leisure Suit Larry. However, there's nowhere near as much adult content in this as in Leisure Suit Larry. In fact, there's not nearly as much humor as in Leisure Suit Larry. Something evidenced as we're going to see by the description. So just look around. You can type look to get a general description of your surroundings at any time. This is the world as you know it. Your fifth job since high school, working at the 4-Fred network in a 3-channel market. Your main responsibility, saving electricity by manually rewinding videotape. At least here you occasionally get a glimpse of your secret love, Stella Hart. Well, let's look at Stella. You may be able to see through walls, but Les can't. Besides, only the suits get to see that area of the world. Well, despite that, we can try to talk to Stella. Your thin, squealy voice can't carry through the wall. And unfortunately, this description does not give us much of a view of, or much description of what we can interact with. Luckily, one of the other things that this game did get applauded for when it first came out, even though it was pretty clear to everybody, yeah, this is a Leisure Suit Larry ripoff, it did represent a major leap forward in graphics, even ignoring the digitized actors. There was a greater effort to try and do not quite animation quality graphics, but definitely more expressive faces, as we saw in the introduction. And this does help out here, so we can look at the cabinet behind us. It was once full of important documents until you took over this office. Office is not needed in this adventure. Okay, well, we can look at our desk. Like your life, your desk is a mess. Look at desk. Look in desk. Try looking in the drawer. Look in drawer. The drawer is closed. Open drawer. From here. Yes, we have to move over here before we can do anything with the drawer. So open drawer. Okay, look in drawer. Inside the drawer are a thermos and a lunch bag. Get thermos. Get bag. Look at thermos. A thermos keeps hot things hot and cold things cold, but how do it know? Look bag. You've always preferred a plain brown bag to a licensed character lunchbox. Okay, look in bag. Inside the lunch bag is a jar. Look at jar. It's a jar. Okay, get jar from bag. Open jar. The jar is already open. Open bag. Open thermos. Look at phone. The 9, 7, and 6 digits are worn off the buttons. Get phone. Les hasn't gone cellular. Look at radio. Dial set to your favorite talk show. Listen to radio. Welcome back to Harry Ding Live. We got our Bobby from New York. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Harry, you won't believe who I saw this morning. The King. Thank you, everyone, folks. The third sighting this week. And one other thing we can do is look at the calendar. Today's date is circled. You've been working at the station 2 years as of last Thursday. Your probationary period is finally over. Look at bulb. The dim bulb reminds you of someone near and dear to your heart. Get bulb. You can't take the light bulb. And that's all we can really do here. Actually, that's a bit more than we can do here. And getting out here, you can see what I mean about the music. Luckily, we can turn the music off, but that does also kill all the sound effects. Hey, it was 1990. What do you want? Okay, so look at fountain. I don't know the word fountain. Look at water. Cool refreshment for a hot and dry place. What do you want to fill the thermos with? Fill. And the first time I tried playing this, I spent longer than I care to talk about trying to get the fountain to work because it didn't recognize there's a water fountain there. So I'm thinking, okay, what else would you call the fountain? Water pump, water machine. But it turns out you just type fill thermos with water. Gee, I'm glad I remembered that I almost forgot to fill my thermos today. Close thermos. Oh, and we hit I to get inventory. You have a thermos, a lunch bag, and a jar. Yeah, we don't see the water here. There's a little sign on the door. Read sign. Authorized personnel only. This, of course, does not include you. I don't know if that's included on the sign or not. Open door. It is locked. Oh, and one other thing you can do anytime in the game, just type in use, anything, use me. Use? Hey, this ain't just another Half Dome game. Yeah, you get 10 points just for trying to use something. And I am going to go ahead and save here, because this is our first major puzzle coming up, and I'm not entirely sure what happens if I screw this up. You recognize your boss, but you're not sure if he recognizes you. After all, he's got much more important things to do than worry about what goes on in his department. But we can look at the TV. Locally, Colonel Bob's Traveling Circus opens today, although tickets have been sold out for weeks. On the national level, this update from Will's $1 Million Search for the King contest. Correspondents report that one Layla Libido, longtime friend of the king and current close companion of Mr. Fabulous, has been spotted poolside in Las Vegas. When asked about her prior relationship with the king would help her achieve a quick victory in the contest, Miss Libido said, "Huh? What? Get out of my son!" This is apparently an important clue to something we're going to need to do later in the game. Nothing special about the shelves. Okay, so the fact that we saw on the calendar that we were due for a performance review leads us to talk to boss. Talk to boss. Get back to work, young fella. Excuse me, Mr. Birnbaum? Who the hell are you? It's me, sir, Les Manley. I've been working here for 2 years now. Oh, sure, Fess. What do you want now? I was just wondering about my performance review. Yeah, what about it? I've never had one. So? Gee, Mr. Birnbaum, Stella says you give her a raise every 3 months. I get one every day. Excuse me? Nothing. This. All right, just a minute. Miss Hart, can you put in the personnel file for this young fellow, please? Now, we're supposed to wait until she walks past and try and grab the keys then. Careful, he might have seen you take them. Let me think about it a while, Fest. Now, excuse me, I've got an appointment. Trying to swipe the keys, eh? Your boss usually deals with problem employees like you by pressing a secret button on the floor under his desk. You bit the green weenie. What a shame you're doing so well. Progress has been made. Would you like to keep trying or remain a loser? And yeah, we do have to wait for his eyes to go wide as Stella is walking past before we try and grab the keys. You sneaky devil, got him while he wasn't looking. I mean, while he was looking. Giggity. Sorry, Les, I haven't got time to call you right now. Or talk to you right now. I'll give you a call later in the game. Let me think about it, Fess. Now, you'll excuse me, I've got an appointment. Okay, but we now have the keys. So we can. Unlock door. Your heart flutters at the sound of the unlocking mechanism. Open door. So what's in here? Well, normally an equipment room is filled with valuable video technology requiring expertise and experience and expertise to operate. This one, however, is almost empty. Just a couple of shelves, a desk, and a toolbox. Well, look at desk. There's nothing special about the desk. Look at shelves. Nothing special about the shelves. Look in toolbox. Inside the box is reporter's ID. Get ID. I didn't actually type look here before, so... And typing it with 3 O's works for some reason. Things have been very busy here at WILL. The station's last promotion, if the biggies won't show it, we will, went over like a Brady Bunch marathon. The single arrow above the elevator is a constant reminder that you work below ground on the lowest floor in the building. And not that we have to really worry about it, but the rogue in me feels the need to cover my tracks somewhat. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and save the game here because. And it took me a while to figure this out. This is one of those old fangly games that had copyright protection being made back in the days when you could just copy the disc. Yes, we still used discs back then very easily. So they needed to put stuff in the manual to ensure that you were actually buying the game, and they did like brown paper that couldn't be photocopied, or they put a red filter over it so you needed special lenses or cellophane to look over it. And then coming to this area is where it will trigger the first bit of copyright protection. So look around, and we have, gee, you suddenly remember that your original lunch plans had included picking up some spare parts. Now, what was that price? Luckily, I think the Good Old Games version kind of dummied this out because I tried finding a place to type it and it didn't work. So just click on the stars. Gee, I almost forgot how old was Lila when she first married. There was also a tabloid in the manual you had to work with. But then again, finding the king is a little more important. And boom, just like that, we are past the copyright protection. Because if you fail it, it'll take you back into a DOS prompt in DOSBox, which is kind of weird to get out of. Oh, and we can control our speed. That has nuance even if the sound doesn't. Yeah, see what I mean? So we'll be keeping that off, thank you. Station WILL's rear entrance. Too bad it's been months since a potential client passed through it. It looks like Dave the guard has managed to adapt to the pace. Alright, look at Dave. The little Z's mean he's sleeping. And this is probably the most absurd puzzle in the game, which is saying something, because he's asleep. You sleep, you dream. We can look at his dream. The following dream sequence may contain some material deemed unsuitable for all family members. As viewing said sequence is not necessary for successful completion of the game, parental guidance is suggested. Yes, we are about to see some of the finest pixelated nudity that 1990 could provide. Train tunnel, hot dog, sucking the lips. That's it. Now here's the surreal part. We can get the dream. I can't imagine what you'd want with somebody else's dream, but it's yours now. Yep, we stole someone's dreams. Hopefully we won't break them. Adds a little color. Now, I will give this game credit for one thing. It doesn't have any easy Sierra deaths in this open part where, hey, I walk in the street. Oh, hey, it killed me because I walked in the street. A fine piece of automotive history sits in its regular parking place. The oil pooled underneath it makes you wonder how long it's been since it actually moved. After the quiet of your office, the bright lights and busy streets of the Big Apple are a welcome change. Looks like a great place to begin a quest. Now you might be thinking we need to go in the bus station, right? Not so much. Look at... I don't see the station clerk here. It says notice. Reverse angle. It said if you stay in a bus terminal long enough, the whole world will pass by. Standing near the door, a young mother watches her baby. And you see we got signs that say nowhere fast, nowhere slow. Try Wake Man. Yeah, I was looking at the guy behind me, but I think that might have been Alfred Hitchcock. Try Wake Man. He isn't sleeping, he's just meditating. Wait, was that Elvis who just walked past? I don't know how to do that to the vending machine. Look, vending machine. Unfortunately, this machine is out of your microwave popcorn. The woman looks vaguely familiar, kind of like your mother when she was young. But wait, the baby also looks familiar, kind of like you when you were young. Maybe you've entered a time warp. Maybe you've entered the Twilight Zone. Maybe you've entered a great scenario for another game. Nah, too cliche. Get a job! His AI hasn't developed to the point of speech yet. The baby looks strangely familiar. The woman looks vaguely familiar, and he's on perpetual break. So, yeah, is there any point to this? Not really. We don't get to use the bus station for anything. So, where do we go from here? Well, if we go a little further down the street, it would be difficult moving around without it. This house is typical of thousands of working class homes in the area that have yet to be touched by the concept of urban renewal. Don't go scrounging around the garbage, Les. Another drip. Ho ho, it is to laugh. It looks a lot like any other working class neighborhood. Older brick buildings give way to new construction in progress. To the east, rubble makes passage impossible. Nothing special about the sign. And nope, we can't go any further than this empty lot. I don't know if it's a whole lot or just a little, but and yes, there is a mailbox here. The strains of organ music and the scent of popcorn and wild animals drift from over the fence. Either the circus is in town or next year's election campaigns have begun early. And we can read the poster. The sign reads, Colonel Bob's Traveling Circus coming soon to your area. Coming soon, I think it's here. If we go all the way to the left, boom! We have a nice little circus area. Now, how the heck is this going to help us find Elvis? Well, that is a question we will begin exploring next time. So thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment if you are so inclined. And we'll continue the adventure from here next time. Take care until then.